nothing could stop me.
What's up, Grow Nation? Happy 2025. 2025. We have spanned over 3 years for the Grow Show.
3 years.
3 years we've been around bringing business growth advice. Right? Talked about just making the journey just a little bit easier, and hopefully we've been doing that. And for today's episode, we have some fire content.
Yeah, we do.
We are going to talk about how you can get your sales kicked off right in the beginning of the year. First quarter couldn't be more important. But before we get to that, let's talk about the beginning of the year a little bit. You know, what are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel great. I think 2024 just flew by, didn't it?
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
I do.
Really? Oh,
I do.
You don't feel that way?
that's shit people without kids at home say. You know what they say? They go long days, short years. No. I don't think so. I don't know.
What are you most looking forward to this year?
Ooh, 2025. What am I most looking forward to? I'm feeling bullish about the American economy. I really am. I'm hearing people talking optimistically, feeling optimistic. I'm bullish and I'm excited for the American economy to be humming. And I have no degree or no education or no standing to say that opinion. That's just my opinion.
You are the sheriff, though.
Right.
So that does.
Good point.
That does give you a little bit. I'm excited about, I think 2025 is going to start defining what our future is going to look like, especially with sales and marketing. And I think the people that adapt and stay with it are going to get ahead, and the people that don't are going to lag behind. So I think it's important to be out there, keeping your ear to the street and hearing what people are doing on the front lines.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting. We're in our 15th year, and I think it's going to be the most pivotal year that we've had, period. Just by the nature of what we do and where we're at in the life cycle. And then, like you guys are talking about, the economy and AI and how the world is changing, I think that this is a year to really make a difference. I'm so excited about it. I don't know. Personally, my daughter's going to Spain for the second semester. Going to go over there. Looking forward to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to helping McEwen pass A class in 2025. That'll be good.
Mm-hmm. How about the aliens? I mean, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
What are we going to find out about the aliens this year?
We find out right here in January, right?
Wait, first of all, I hope we don't get docked any Spotify points for me pointing this out, but this year, we're going to meet some aliens. I'm excited.
For those of you who were...
You learned about this on TikTok.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
For those of you who didn't see the first 5 minutes pre-show, Jeff ran through 6 conspiracies. And now he brings aliens to the forefront.
They're not from another planet.
How are they going to arrive?
They're from another dimension. The way that humans think about space and time.
I knew this
and
back.
Are they going to be out in Frontenac?
Can you do the X-Files music? Can we cue up the X-Files music for some of our older viewers like me?
X-Files.
Laugh while you want. Embrace the future. AI and ALIEN. Alien.
You know who was in the X-Files? Agent Scully.
Agent Scully. That's why I
was
said
in the X-Files.
Agent Scully. Embrace the aliens, hopefully.
It is going to be a good year.
No doubt.
And we're gonna talk to you about how you can get into it in the quickest way possible from a sales perspective. Before we do that, let's go over to our resident sheriff, Jeff Winters. What do we got in the LinkedIn landscape?
For now, we have humans on LinkedIn.
Oh, God.
No, there's actually non-humans on LinkedIn already.
There are.
There are some machines, but there's no interplanetary, multidimensional aliens as of yet, I don't think. But I will keep you all posted, as that's my job. In addition to that, my job is also to sift through The pasture that is LinkedIn, separating fact from fiction.
The pasture that is what?
LinkedIn. And truth from lies.
Lies.
Our first truth comes to us from Wouter Bourne. 24 sentences every CFO must hear at least once. I'm going to read 3 of them. You guys pick up on it. He's got 22. Number 1, you're the voice of reason, not popularity. This is to the CFO. Number 2, your job is to say no more often than yes. And number 3, again, of this list of 21, your influence extends far beyond the finance department. You're the voice of reason, not popularity. Your job is to say no more often than yes. Your influence extends far beyond the finance department.
Yeah, I think that's great. All those 3 things remind me of Alicia. So I think we're lucky to have somebody that's really, really good at this.
Shout out to Alicia.
Yeah.
Maybe
Best
a surprise
CFO
guest.
I've ever met.
Maybe a surprise guest.
Should be a surprise guest. All truths. I was just in a meeting with her the other day where she was exercising her right to say no. Not just to say no, though, right? The good CFOs also say yes and support the business. But if you don't have a CFO that's in there playing that role and fighting against sales or operations and making sure that we're on track with budget, your bottom line isn't going to be where it needs to be. And you're not going to make really good business decisions, pay plans, just how you work bonuses, planning, where you're going to invest dollars. We've got the best.
We really do. It reminds me of a quote from the CEO of Snowflake. He wrote in his book. He said, he has a longtime CFO. I play offense and the CFO plays defense. There's sort of that cool relationship there. And we're very lucky. Truth. Truth number 2 comes from Benjamin. One name. Benjamin. I sincerely believe most sales orgs will have trouble or even fail if they decide to let HR make hiring decisions for sales. Oh, a little controversy.
Is that a thing that's going on now?
I mean, according to Benjamin.
False.
You think HR should make hiring decisions for sales?
I think HR should be part of hiring decisions, period. I think we should do it even more than we do. And I think the outside perspective is interesting. I think somebody that isn't necessarily doing that job on a daily basis can key into certain behavioral factors, make sure that we actually ask. A lot of people have plans to ask certain interview questions and take people in a certain direction to make sure that they're right people. And a lot of times they don't follow process. And somebody from the outside can make sure that process is followed, that interviews are consistent, and that we're making sure to make the right decisions. I think it's false.
Hang on. Now, let me take you, you're going to dig in, but let me take you back to your younger days where you were managing a sales team. You hired and fired. How would you feel if HR was bringing you these young sales folks and saying, Scott, got your new salesperson. Look at him right there.
So you're talking about recruiting? I think that you would have the responsibility of sitting down and talking about what your profile you're looking for, and then holding them accountable to not letting them get to you unless the agreed upon profile is met. But I think human resources is involved in a lot of areas, and the most successful companies, human resources is involved in the hiring decision. Why is this guy saying that they shouldn't be? That's what they do for a living. Analyze questions and interview process and testing and personalities and making sure that the profile of that person fits the job.
Eric, what say you?
So I'm down for the hybrid for sure. That's probably the best option. I would say if you're making me pick.
This says make hiring decisions, not involved in the process. This says, I sincerely believe that most sales orgs will have trouble or even fail if they decide to let HR make hiring decisions. That's what it says.
It doesn't say in a silo, and I get what Scott's saying with give them the profile that you want. I would say if we're talking in a silo, I'd rather have sales do it. If we're talking what's best case scenario, I'd rather have both. And my biggest argument to why you would make HR heavily involved is because the pain of not having someone is going to hit that sales leader harder.
Yeah.
And we've done it all the time. right? We hire somebody because we have an empty seat, not because they're the right person or they're going to last in the role.
And sales leaders run on emotion and one day get connected to somebody because they went to the same college or played on the same football team, or were in the same art class, whatever it is. They run on emotion sometimes and make decisions because they connected to the person better in the interview process. I see it happen all the time. Somebody on the outside that knows that I have to get through 27 questions and have them take these 2 tests and they need to fit this profile, I think a lot of times is more qualified to make the hiring decision.
Yeah, I could see that.
I've seen a lot of sales leaders completely fail at adding salespeople to their team.
Interesting perspectives. Good debate. And now for the no, don't apologize.
You're still
to
a
me.
really good sheriff.
No. Don't apologize to me.
Just arresting the wrong people.
Apologize to the people.
Sometimes he puts innocent people in jail.
Apologize to the people. And now for the lie. I know this is a lie. It comes from a guy named James. He says meetings, sales appointments, from cold email are always useless. Always useless. Let me explain. He doesn't need to, but he does, unfortunately. I managed an 8-person pipeline team, 6 cold callers, 1 social seller, and 1 cold emailer. 90% of our pipeline came from the 1 cold emailer, but it only created 4% of our revenue. The other 96% of the revenue came from cold calling and social selling. What does that mean? It means that cold email is scalable enough to generate tons of pipeline. But people who take meetings from cold email? Nah. They are low intent buyers. They take meetings for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's just false from our experience. Maybe the industry is different or whatever it may be, but we'll probably talk about the importance of knowing your business development formula per channel going into the year. But our email close rate is higher than both our LinkedIn close rate and our cold call close rate, and it rivals our digital inbound web lead close rate. So,
and it has for years.
For a while.
I went back and looked at the data.
Tons of
30% higher.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other thing is I would guarantee that through the use of email, he warmed up, people that they called. Mm-hmm. And most people aren't good at knowing exactly how they touched a prospect and putting that attribution in place. So I think he doesn't really know how well email actually worked for him.
Yeah, I think he should go to jail.
I think it's weird too. Like,
I also think he runs a team of 8, so I don't know that I can actually listen to him.
But it's weird. Like, usually you'd get the volume from call. He's got 6 callers and low pipeline and high close rate, and 1 emailer and high pipeline and low close rate. That doesn't track for me.
I like that he's getting some business through cold calling, though. That's one step above a lot of people.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
There's something. It's probably easier to fix It's probably easier to fix email close rate than it is cold call close rate. So he's probably doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, and I yes, I still think that he's emailing people he's calling, and the multi-channel approach is the best.
Yep.
You got to talk to him on social and email and send him mail and call him and get involved in, organic SEO strategies and paid. And that's kind of the mix is the best to have the right amount of meetings for your sales team.
And then don't forget, when the aliens come, telepathy. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you.
No problem.
Nice job.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to disagree with you.
It's okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we have to.
Sometimes.
I don't take it
I understand when you say make the decisions.
Make the decisions.
In a lot of the largest companies, they do, though. Here's your sales rep. Okay. Speaking of sales, we are going to talk about the importance of getting the right start and making sure that you're hitting your sales targets, if not exceeding your sales targets in the beginning of the year, because if you're in a MRR, type business, that revenue is obviously carrying out through the rest of the year, right? So if you miss a target of $50,000 in January, then obviously that, unless you make up for it the next month, people usually aren't doing that math. And then all of a sudden, that's how you end up at the end of the year in a worse situation. In fact, there's a lot of organizations that in their planning will make sure in the fourth quarter or certainly in the beginning of the year that they're investing even more to try to exceed sales expectations so that the revenue is there throughout the year. So that's the conversation. What do you think are some of the most important things to make sure people are on top of this?
Yeah, so I think the first thing, and we've talked a lot about this in other episodes, but we'll go a little deeper in it with it, is knowing your business development formula. Like in my office, on the board that's right in front of my face, I have one thing, and it's our business development formula, and then it's broken down by channel. So knowing your sales goal from the year that you have created, and that it is both realistic, but also it should stretch. Like it should not be something that you just naturally back into. It should be something that is really going to put your business in a better spot. And then reverse engineering your goal from there. So for us, our business, the outbound side, we need to sell $350,000 a month. And so my next step I'm looking at is average price per deal. So our average price per deal, we're looking at $5,000 per deal. And then from that, I know I need to sell 70 deals to get to $350,000. And our close rates blended throughout the channels is 9.73. So I know in order to close 70 deals, I need 725 sales meetings that are held. And I know based on my show rate that I need 1,200 appointments that I have to set up. And then that's broken down. I'm looking at it from a couple different channels. I'm looking at cold call, I'm looking at email, I'm looking at LinkedIn, I'm looking at web, and I'm looking at organic upsells, and then also referrals. And so they all have their own associated close rates, show rates, et cetera. And then now I can go out, I can look at my cost to sale, I can look at my channels, I can have my benchmarks for what is success. And then I also, there's a little room for error here. And we were talking about attribution of like, if you're really doing it right, it should be tough to know. Like something may come through a channel, but it maybe got warmed up through cold calling and emailing. And as long as you're close and in the ballpark, I think you're in the right spot. But I think people right now, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have an established growth goal of what they want to hit, and they don't even know the sales goal. So you got to make it known, and then you got to have a recipe for how you're going to hit it. I just think that's step one. You got to know it, make it known, and then do that.
Love it.
Yeah, that's the smart answer. That's the smart answer. See him whip
those numbers out?
That's the smart answer for the smart people, okay? I'm going to give you my answer. Works for me and people in my ilk. Momentum. Momentum, baby. That's what I'm doing in the first month of the year. I want momentum. You can't win all the games if you don't win. Which one, Eric?
The first.
You got to win the first one. You got to win the first game. 1-0 versus 0-1. It's a whole different season. It's a whole different game. It's a whole different year. It's a whole different life. So we are going to go 1-0, and that's what we're focused on. We're going 1-0. You got to have the leading indicators and the percentages and the conversions and the fractions and the mixed numbers. Yeah, you got to have all that shit. But you know what I need? I need you feeling like you could run through a wall. Period. The end. You're not going to lose. And not only are you not going to lose, sales reps aren't going to lose, the managers aren't going to lose, the VPs aren't going to lose, and CEOs aren't going to lose. So you know what I'm doing? I'm in there. I am in the weeds. I will drag us across the finish line. I will call and buy a deal if I have to, but we are not going to miss that first month. And we didn't, by the way. Didn't miss the first month. And we're not going to miss that first month ever, because you got to go 1-0 in order to go 12-0.
I love that. Both of these points are amazing. And I think actually we'll just keep going around, right? Because there's a lot of things to consider. Mm-hmm. So I'll throw on top of those two things and say, if you're just starting now, you're late. Doesn't mean you can't make up for it, but you're late. You're one game in, so hopefully you won. Mm-hmm. Or in the middle of your first game. You got to be ready fourth quarter, right? You got to be talking about this probably before October, but getting people fired up and having your business development formula in October so that you're rolling in to the 1st of January on fire. With holidays, and now it seems like the holidays last from 1 week before November, literally all the way through the end of the year. and everybody's gone, everybody's on vacation, and if it's not the people in your shop, it's the people that you call on, it's a disaster. And it would be very easy to come in after New Year's Day, after a few drinks and a bunch of food, and just be hungover and like take all of January to finally get up and running so that February you win the second game, right? And so plan early. Have your business development formula in place. Get your people fired up. Make sure that you are, before the holidays, creating that momentum so that you can have the wins in January.
I have to add to Scott's point, I have a contest that you can do that works 100% of the time every single year.
Contest. 100% of the time.
Unfortunately, you can't use it until next December, but keep it in your back pocket. Use it then. Buy a gift. So to get through this holiday funk, buy a gift, set your competition on the leading indicators that you need to hit your sales number. Buy a gift for each day in the month. Make them random. Let them pick a number 1 through 20, and then that's the gift. And then once someone has a gift, the next person that wins can either pick another random gift, or they can steal the person's gift who they had. Kind of like a white elephant type deal. You can only steal it once, though. You can't just keep stealing. So if someone gets a really good gift, what do you think everybody's doing that next day? They're trying to win so they can go steal that, and then they lock down that gift.
The white elephant.
Yeah,
I like it.
Just a little contest for next year. Other thing is, with this getting geared up for the year, a lot of people adjust pay plans, and they probably adjust them like now. And you're gonna lose, like to your point, you're just gonna lose momentum. People are gonna be unfocused. They're gonna be trying to figure out what they're gonna make. One of the things we did, we adjusted the pay plan really 2 months in advance. So then going into this year, everybody was crystal clear about how they're gonna make their money and what they're doing. I think that was important.
Like I have a friend in the corporate world that waited through the first quarter to learn about her adjusted quota for the year. Yeah. And it wasn't because of when their year end was. It was literally because they were screwing around, and it took till the beginning of April to actually know her quota when 25% of the first quarter's over.
Right.
It's insane. So here's one that I think people not intentionally get wrong, but get wrong a lot, and that is having enough quota. Okay. You've got a sales team, and a lot of times you have quota that adds up to the exact amount you need to sell, as opposed to quota that reaches past the number that you need to sell, because something always happens. Someone turns over or goes on vacation or gets sick, or there's a world tragedy. There's things that always happen. So you've got to know exactly what an individual sales rep can produce, and be very mindful of if they're in their first 3 to 6 months too, because that's probably a lower number than somebody that's a little more tenured. And you got to add those numbers up. And, if we have to sell $350,000 a month in MRR, we've got to have 400, 425 in quota to make sure that we're falling back into that number. Otherwise, you're in a spot where 100% of your sales reps have to be hitting target, which I just haven't seen in 32 years of doing this. I've just never seen an entire sales team that has hit 100% of their number.
Let me key in on quota. Another quote from actually the same, I didn't even just read this book, but the same Snowflake CEO book. He said the number one leading indicator of sales is quota deployed. The number one leading indicator of sales is quota deployed. So theoretically, and it's got to be somewhat realistic, if you have 2 sellers and you just say your quota is $100 million, you're going, yeah, screw you. But like generally speaking, you're going to hit 75, 85% of your quota. So if your quota's $10 million, you're going to hit $8.5 million. If your quota is 50,000, you're going to hit 40 grand. You know what I mean? Like, so think about that as you're doing your planning, and try to just know that what you have deployed is you're going to get, plan to get 80 to 90% of it. Like that's where people fall. And I thought I think, Scott, I think that's a really good point, and people don't figure it out. And also the other thing about quota, you're never going to get it. You ever gotten it perfect? You ever set the perfect quota? I mean, it's so waiting until April to get an incrementally better quota than you give in December with certainty is idiotic. I mean, get the quote out as best you can. And let's talk about how you can center your leaders, right? Because it's a little tough with a stretch goal and a goal you want, because then it's like, okay, if we hit 85% of the goal that we want as a company, then we are winning, but you as the sales leader are at 85%. Now let's talk about how to thread that needle, because that's pretty darn tough. And I think that, one way to do it is to make sure that you are paying your sales leader commensurate with a number that is realistic that they can win at, but then you've got a really lucrative pay plan that incentivizes them to go above and beyond. Make sure you are budgeting from a resource perspective to the above and beyond number, not their goal, the above and beyond number. And make sure you are talking about the above and beyond number. And that's sort of you can do it with the reps you give a little more quota than you actually need. And you do it with the manager, not by punishing them and having them hit unrealistic targets, but making sure they know that the stretch goal kind of in your mind is the goal. You pay up to that level and you resource up to that level. If you resource up to the goal and you expect the stretch, you're asking more than you ought to be.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Here's one: kick someone off the team. And if you have a big enough sales team, here's why I'm saying this: there is someone that doesn't think that it can be done, that is negative, and you just don't know how much that person's actually impacting the rest of the team. It's kind of my number one thing when I'm doing sales leadership. If there is anyone on the team that doesn't think that the target is possible for the next year, get them off. Like, it wouldn't be, it would be the same if I'm going into the playoffs in the bowl season here at the end of college football, and if I don't care who it is, if I've got a guy in the locker room that's saying, we can't win the next game, pack your bags and go home. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it just won't happen. And some of you are going to be like, or thinking, I can think of somebody right now that's that way. And you know what? I bet it's one of your top people. And you're not going to do it because it's one of your top people. I promise you, you will be okay. Mm-hmm. There will be people that step up because that person is gone. That person is causing problems. Eliminate them from the team right now.
I have one. Regiment your training in advance. Plan it out for the year, because I think what trap you fall into is in months where you do really well, you push the trainings. We'll push it. Everybody has a lot of follow-up calls or pitches scheduled or whatever. And then in months you're doing bad, you overdo the training. You have everybody in every training learning arguably too much, losing what they are already good at. And so just set in advance, what are your training topics going to be on? Do the same trainings on the same cadence and stick to that for the whole year. And if you do that, people are going to know what to expect every week. They're going to look forward to it, and they're going to learn and get better over the course of the year.
One for me is making it small. There's a lot of you out there that go, I don't have to worry about January. We're just looking at Q1. Generally speaking, a mistake. I never had a bigger jump in my sales leadership career than when I had a boss 15 years ago go, we don't do quarters anymore, we do months. I was like, what? This is a quarterly rhythm. I'm like, nah, it's not. It's monthly now. And because what happens? If you have a quarterly rhythm, when do the sales come in? At the end of the what?
Quarter.
At the end of the quarter. It's March 31. People are on spring break. Yeah, we're going to crush the end of the quarter. If it's monthly, it's monthly. And I know you're sitting out there going, Jeff, you don't understand. My sales cycle is 18 months. Yeah. What's the key? After 18, month. Yeah, there's a month. You can make it about months. And even if you don't want to make your sales results about months, which I would, make something about the month. Otherwise, you're so far behind. People are getting back. It's January 20th. You're like, we're good. We got 8 more weeks, 12 more weeks, 9 more weeks, whatever the hell it is. And you're screwed on March 25th. You live in months, or we live in weeks or days. We want a certain amount of sales every single day or every single week. A quarter, that's 50 years from now.
I couldn't agree more. And I would kind of amplify that and say, then the week, like you're saying, then the day. Like the best sales organizations have it all the way down to the day. And you know who's really good at this? I've said it before, and we give them a lot of trouble. Car dealers. Car dealers are all about what you're going to sell today, period. They're in their morning meeting, and people are calling it out, and the GSM is literally in their faces about, hey, Eric, you said the Johnsons are coming back, right? And then what about the Smiths? They were in here yesterday. Did he call his wife? All of those things. So you should have 2 today, right? And they're literally going through and writing them on the board, and they know exactly how many they should sell on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the first week, the third week, the last. So I'm driving home the other day, of course, on the last day of the year. And I've been looking to trade my car, so I go into the store, and I wasn't gonna buy. I just wanted to check on this car that was online. Well, guy comes out. Can I help you? I'm like, well, I was looking at that car over there. How much? And he's like, you gonna buy it today? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it depends. I got a trade. I don't know what you're selling it for. He's like, I guarantee you today is the best day that you could buy this. He's like, it's the end of the year. I'm like, I know it is. He goes, today is going to be way better for you if you buy it today. I'm like, I bet it probably will be. He goes, so do you think you would buy a car today? I'm like, I'd buy a car today if the price is right. He goes, all right, let's work some numbers. I'm like, okay, let's, and then he's boom, boom, boom. And then he's like, and then he comes back out and he's like, your car plus X. I mean, one time. And I was like, give me 10 grand more. He goes back and he's like, all right, fine. We need to sell today. He's like, but you're buying today. I'm like, I'll write you a check right now for the difference. I told you that I would if you got to the number. He's like, all right, let's go in the office. Like this whole thing is like 1 hour, but it was about today. Awesome. It's like breaking it down. It's making initiative. And it can be that way. And even if it's an 18-month sales cycle, you've got a group of them, that are today, that were 18 months ago. And I think that if you break it down like that, then you don't get to the end of a month even behind, because in the first week, you're 25-30% of the way there, which, like you said, when game one, if you break the month down into 20 games, and you say you got to win 20 games within that month to win the 1 month or that one game, then it works.
I really think that might be the first thing I would do. If I came into a sales organization and I immediately saw they were on a quarterly sales rhythm, I think if I just changed it to monthly, if that's all I did was change it to monthly, I might be able to take the year off. I think it's that important.
Yeah.
And monthly to weekly and weekly to daily, and get them down that path. But I'm not so sure that if you're sitting there listening, you're not thinking, yeah, we got quarters, I'm just going to change it to months. I'm not sure you don't call me in 12 months ago, I can't believe I didn't do that soon.
Yeah. So, put your business development formula in place, know exactly how many meetings you need to have on a monthly basis, plan them out, make sure that you have enough salespeople with enough quota to be able to hit that, get the energy up, break things down into kind of small initiatives, get people believing that it can be done. Probably overshare from a financial perspective so they know why you've set certain targets, because if people know that kind of data, they're generally willing to fight a little bit harder to hit the goal. And I think you guys are off and running for 2025.
Good stuff.
If you want to talk more about this, please. This is stuff that we love to have a conversation with. So if you're sticking, if you're at the beginning of a year and you have some questions about how to plan, reach out to us. One of us will get on the phone with you and walk you through some of the things that we do.
I was doing some sales coaching yesterday, actually.
You were?
Yeah, it was just somebody was in our orbit and had some questions to run by us, and was happy to jump on. So if people have questions or want to chat, we're around reasonably.
Reach out. Text the show.
Yeah.
Text the show. We'll get back to you. All right. We're there.
We made it.
To do or not to do?
Do
There it is.
Or do not.
All right, so
There is no try.
we have, it's a little geographic specific, but that's okay. We have a big snow coming. Monday. Snowmageddon. We're supposed to have anywhere from 12 to 20 inches of snow, which means we'll probably have 4 inches of snow. But currently 12 to 20 inches. And you know what? I've been seeing this trend, and this could just be an Illinois thing, because I think everybody in my neighborhood loves to shovel their driveway. But the mid-snow shovel. Well, because, if you wait till it's 10 inches or 12 inches, it gets too much and it's, a little heavier and you can't get it out. Should you get out there and shovel your driveway halfway so you don't wait till the end to try to move 12 inches of snow? That's the question today. Scott.
Iowa guy. I'm an Iowa guy, and you can't even wait till halfway through. At this level of snow, you can't even wait till halfway through. You'll break your frickin' back. You got to go out first hour. And take the first inch or two off. And you got to do it a couple of times, unless you've got one of those intense snow blowers. But if you're one guy or one girl and a shovel, get your ass out there in the first hour and clear the first level.
So and then the philosophy, because I'm not this guy, the philosophy behind it is it just makes it easier.
I mean, then you can keep taking an inch or two. You try to shovel 12 inches of snow, you might as well wait for it to melt. You might as well just call it a day without a snowblower. A
little more context, this snow ain't melting anytime soon. Like, we got 5 days of brutally cold weather.
Those of you who can afford it, go out and get your snowblower right now. Those of you that can't, get your ass out in the driveway or put your kids out there right now, shovel it up.
Yeah. In the hierarchy of shit I hate doing.
Here it comes. Have you ever shoveled?
He hasn't. So I'm going to tell you why I like shoveling more than I like these other two things. So the number one worst activity is leaf blowing. That is for the birds. I don't get that one at all. People love it. I'm going to put my headphones in and go out and blow the leaves. It sucks. It's impossible to do. The leaves are going everywhere. I can't get them in a pile. It takes you 40 hours, and then it's the same the next day. So that's idiotic. That is the number one thing I hate doing. The number two thing I hate doing is anything having to do with like gardening. It's painful with the weeds and the this and the that. Again, it's a thankless task. I despise it.
When was the last time you did anything?
Number three, let me finish, is shoveling snow. Oh my gosh, I hate shoveling snow. I really do. I hate shoveling snow. And this is horrible and I'm spoiled and whatever. I have pre-negotiated. My wife and I last night, 3 days pre-snow, we called around and we got ourselves somebody to come and take their truck and in 4 minutes magically plow my driveway. It's going to cost us a little money. I know I'm spoiled and horrible.
It's really not that bad.
For $100, they're gonna take care of my driveway
making a killing.
like 3 times. And you know what? I get it. I'm not saying everybody needs to go this route. I'm just telling you, I'm going this route. I won my fantasy football league this year, and some of those winnings are going to the damn snowplow. Well, I'm inside. Toasty.
All right, I got a comment. You're not going to like it.
About that? That's it? You don't like that?
You're not going to like it.
Okay.
And you're not going to like it because, again, you grew up here and I grew up there.
You didn't grow up on the North Pole. You grew up a couple hours north of here.
By the way,
you're not a polar bear.
By the way, when I grew up in Iowa, we had drifts all the time, and there's so much more snow there than here. It's ridiculous.
Polar ice.
But here's what I'm going to say, Mister. I've never shoveled an inch of snow in my lifetime. Okay. You're missing an enormous opportunity to make your kids go out and do it. I had to do that growing up. It absolutely sucked. I never wanted to do it. I got paid $10 to do it. But making them go out and do it, at least if you got the truck coming, at least make them think that they got to go do it all and make them do 30 minutes till this truck shows up. So, and I know they're young.
Do you have any shovels? Do you have shovels?
So let me bounce back off this point. First of all, were there a lot of penguins up there where you grew up?
Yeah.
There were the woolly mammoths. I mean, goodness gracious. You didn't grow up in Antarctica. It's
Well, you haven't
Iowa.
even stepped across the border.
Sioux City or wherever the hell you grew up.
You haven't gone out of Frontenac.
Snow drifts. I mean, give me a break. It snows.
I
a
went
little.
skiing in Iowa one time.
Yeah, right.
I literally used to carve snow tunnels like there was that much snow.
Snow
I'll send you
tunnels.
pictures.
It's 80 degrees in August.
Yes.
What are you talking about? They're not building forts. I mean, give me a break. Anyways, so I'm not opposed to other people in my family shoveling my snow. I'm good with that. Get the kids out. I think that's great advice. Make your kids shovel your snow. I'm just not going to do it.
It's that cup of hot chocolate at the end of a good snow shovel, you know? It's part of the season.
I'm not going to pull my lat shoveling snow. No, thank you.
All right, you heard it here first.
Pull your lat.
Pay somebody.
You know that's what you pull.
Careful of your lats out there.
Yeah.
Folks. All right. Call your snowplow company or gather your kids up, tell them, or do it yourself.
That's right.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
As always, we loved being with you. If there's anything we can help with, please reach out. Let's grow.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.
The Grow Show is sponsored by Abstract Talent Solutions, recruiting for the modern world.